Hello, my curious souls, my wondering souls. How are you all doing? Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time, your energy. Welcome in or welcome back. My name is Amanda, your tarot reader and host for the next 20 to 30 minutes. In today's Timeless Pick a Card reading, we are going to bring forward messages of your inner child. It's funny because I have a little box that I have topics written down on a piece of paper in, and I shook this up 3 times and pulled out a piece of paper to ask Spirit what they wanted to speak to you about, and all 3 times it was the inner child slip of paper. So we are going to speak to the inner child that wants to come through and share a message with you today. This could be a message of healing, this could be something of playfulness and fun, or this could simply be something that you need to know at this time. So remember that all of the messages and guidance offered in today's tarot reading, and any tarot reading for that matter, are always optional for you to welcome into your life. So please trust your intuition and decide what feels best and lovingly leave the rest. If you feel ready to dive into your reading, the timestamps for each soul path are in the description box. However, if you'd like an introduction to each of the soul paths, let me do that right now. So for soul path 1, we have the Patience card with the Aquamarine stone. For soul path 2, we have Revisit with the orange citrine stone. And for soul path 3, we have Awaken with the pink crackle quartz. So when you are ready and feel guided, click on the timestamp in the description to jump straight into your tarot reading, and we will see you over there. Hello, Soul Path 1. Welcome into your reading. You chose the Aquamarine stone with the Patience card. Now, let's go with the lowest hanging fruit of one of the messages being related to patience. And this is such a standard message that comes through. And it can be quite frustrating. But stepping away from that energy for a moment, and simply getting intuitive messages. I'm feeling something about flow. So this isn't just about having patience, it's about not forcing, but flowing. I also got this feeling that there was somebody here that is going to be receiving some kind of news. I'm leaning towards the good news side, but I'm not quite sure. So there's some news or some messages that are coming through for you. Could be in dreams. It could be in some reflective moments as well. So if you're doing meditation, or if you're reading a book, or maybe even having a shower or walking down the street, you might receive some kind of random message that might feel very prophetic or just interesting. I'm not really sure if you'll know what this message means. It'll just be kind of a very curious, where did that come from energy. So that's quite interesting as well. So let's pull some opening energy oracle cards to get a feel for what this inner child would like to speak about. Could be connected to creation or adventure as well. So let's get some opening energy, maybe some further messages. Expect the unexpected. That to me is that unexpected message coming through in an unexpected moment where your mind is focused on one thing, but something else completely unrelated comes through. So in this instance, there's darkness. And because there's very little light, with the exception of the moon and this lantern, they've decided to take a break on their path. And that to me kind of embodies that. And in that space is where the unexpected happens. Kind of like the opening message of when you're walking down the street or having a shower or doing something really mindless, getting into that stillness, and you're receiving some kind of message. Now, for some of you as well, this could mean that you have reached a point along your path where the answers have become unclear. So there's an encouragement to find stillness or pause so that you can receive the answers for the upcoming steps or the upcoming choices that you need to make, or get clarity along the path. And then on the bottom, be still. So expect the unexpected and be still is part of the message here. And I'm not sure if this is for the purposes of healing, for the purposes of understanding something about your childhood, or about what your inner child might need right now. Maybe your inner child does need to be still from the chaos of life, from the chaos of your job, from the chaos of the day-to-day and just the busyness of the day-to-day, to carve out your own space to be with self and just to be, to not do anything, but to just be in the energy of what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what naturally comes through without any force. So this is flow energy to me. Also, I feel like there's some of you that could be very sensitive to light. So finding a space where you can dim the lights, or if you have overhead light in your home, there's a suggestion of maybe looking for softer table lights or lights that emit something a little bit dimmer. But this feels like a pause on the path, and almost like a hibernation energy as well. Wintering energy, respite energy. So let's speak to the inner child of Soul Path 1, please. And just get some more information. Maybe they have some more messages for you. Inner child for Soul Path 1. Let's get your current energy. Current energy. What's the current energy of your inner child? The Empress in reverse. Okay. This makes a lot of sense with the messages here. The Empress in reverse is this energy of impatience, which is interesting that you chose the card of impatience, because I feel instinctively, psychically, intuitively, you might know that. I almost get the feeling that that is why you chose it, is because you knew you were going to get confirmation about that message of needing to slow down, of finding patience, stillness, or just beingness, to foster something within you, to nurture something within you. I feel like your inner child doesn't feel very taken care of at this moment, and that could simply just be, it has been busy, it has been hectic, it has been chaotic, there have been a lot of changes. I'm not quite sure. Maybe the clarifying energies will tell us more. But there's this sense that I need to be cared for too. I need to be mothered. I need to be nurtured. I need you to have patience with me. Because a lot of the times, I am not a mother myself, but I know from friends, I know from my own mom, that children can test your patience. And so that could be what's happening here too, is that your patience is being tested at this time. So it's time to step out of the fray to create space and time for you, so that you aren't as reactive or irritable in a specific situation in your current life, and to give this inner child what it's asking for at this time. So let's see how to address or foster this energy. It's Empress in reverse energy. the Devil in reverse. This makes a lot of sense as well. So there's some attachment to something here. Some unhealthy attachment to something here that needs to be released. Now, this could be guilt or shame of self-care. This could be what happens when I stop or slow down or stop showing up for people. I do feel like there's a value that you attach with this energy of stillness, with this energy of not having to do something, not being productive. So I feel like that needs to be explored because it is affecting how you feel, possibly how you react, your behaviors and or your habits. I feel like there's a bad habit that has been fostered because there's a worthiness coming through, or a lack of worthiness, or some kind of insecurity. But it could range. So think of something that you do that makes you feel worn out, that makes you feel irritable, that makes you feel not cared for, that makes you feel impatient, because those things might be yellow flags of what needs to be changed or adjusted. I think you're aware of this though. There's an awareness, a very strong awareness. So it's like, I know, but I can't. So kind of explore that too, because there's a belief or a story that's coming through with that. And maybe there are some in the collective who simply can't. But I feel like there might be some wiggle room with that. So I'm getting somebody that might be working 2 jobs, and not necessarily to say to let them go, because those 2 jobs might help support the family, help support you and your home and be fed and all of that stuff. So it's not about letting go of those 2 jobs. There are so many other ways in which we can carve out time for ourselves. It doesn't have to be an entire day, although that's always nice. There's something about carving out a little more time for yourself and not always having to do for others or having to do, period. So yeah, self-care might also look different than you think. Self-care is a practice. It is an exercise. It's not necessarily going to the spa or having a bubble bath, although it can be that too, but it's about doing the hard things as well. It's about doing things that we've attached ourselves to, or we've gotten into a bad habit with something. It's about breaking those so that we can realign with better health, better wellness, and going through those uncomfortable motions and emotions as well. And I feel like this is a pretty big, I want to say it's a big deal because we have 2 major arcanas here. So it's been something that has been cyclical or has been ingrained in your life. It's a big deal to change. So it might not be a process where it happens overnight. So what does this inner child want you to know? 2 things. Funny. Your inner child's funny. Ace of Coins and the Hermit in reverse, with the World at the bottom of the deck. So this is confirmation to me that whatever this is, your inner child wants you to be aware of or know about. This has been something that is a big deal to change or to adjust or to fix or to realign. But there's a lot of potential and opportunity in this moment. This is, I feel, the starting point, ground zero to doing things differently. This is the beginning of something new. And again, when we spoke about values, it's sort of showing up here in the Ace of Coins, where this is a moment to adjust how you see yourself, to adjust how you apply yourself, to adjust how you spend your time, energy, money, and what that looks like. and something that you can develop over a long period of time. So something that's going to be sustainable for you. And this is slower energy. So again, it's not going to happen overnight, but there is opportunity in this moment to make the shifts and adjustments that you need to make. So your inner child is saying, the time is now. And with the Hermit in reverse, this tells me that possibly, because we were talking about patience and be still, I feel like it has been, I don't want to say avoided, but again, there's this going energy, and it could be in pursuit of better finances. It could be in pursuit of survival or taking care of the family. But where can the adjustments be made so that it doesn't have to be such a slog, and you can carve out time for the stillness, for the rest, for reflection, for the unexpected? And with the World showing up at the bottom of the deck, this tells me that the underlying energy is that this is a big deal, and it's an important cycle to close out, whatever this is. This could be ingrained in childhood, or this could have been rooted in childhood, where you were only seen and heard when you were of service to others. So now it's time to be of service to self as well. So it's not about cutting away anything necessarily, although that could be for some. It's really about bringing yourself into the mix, spending time, energy, and possibly money on yourself as well, and stepping into this space where you can listen to your inner wisdom, or you can work on self-development and personal fulfillment. There's something that is created in the stillness that you won't see and don't see until you step into the stillness, until you create a new habit or a new behavior based on self-care and stillness. So, and I just noticed too that the little devil guy is in this card as well. So it's like you've gotten away from the devil though, because you're up in this tree and you're kind of stepping away saying, no, I don't want to engage with you right now. This is what I need. So there's some needs that are not being met, and your inner child is letting you know that you need to take care of yourself too, and you need to take care of your inner child just as much as you maybe care for others and do for others. And that doesn't have to be family. That could be your employees or your employer, your friends. So what is this Empress in reverse regarding the inner child energy? What is this Empress in reverse, inner child energy? We have the Chariot. So your inner child wants you to succeed, and the inner child is very determined to find more balance and would like to have more balance. There's also something about the home coming through. So maybe there needs to be some beautification of the home so that you can feel more at home and more relaxed in your home environment. But yeah, there's just a lot of victory and success and encouragement energy coming from this Chariot of wanting to move in a different way, in a balanced way, to see more success. Very determined energy as well. So what is this Devil in reverse? How to address or foster. I'm not really sure how that came up. But the Wheel of Fortune. So this is about how you manage change as well. Being adaptable and flexible, especially when you address or foster a particular energy. This is about allowing things to change with that process. So again, getting into that discomfort of disappointing people, of things needing to change, of the schedule or the routine needing to change, and those feelings of possible guilt or shame that might come up when you start saying no to certain people. Allow things to be flexible, allow things to change, and finding grounding practices will really help as well, because once we start taking time out or spending our time and money a little bit differently, then some of the guilt and shame might start bubbling up, which might pull us back into old habits that make us feel comfortable even though they aren't ideal. So sort of sitting with that for 5 to 10 minutes without reacting, without making a different decision, without kind of leaning back into the comfort, and really grounding yourself in the moment and understanding that these are just thoughts, these are just feelings, and that you need to not do anything particularly in that moment, but just kind of working through that and finding your grounding energy when things start to shift and change. And be prepared for more than just the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions changing and the habits. I think there's going to be external things that change as a result. I want to say let that be okay, because maybe some of the things that you are currently experiencing are rooted in this habit or this behavior that is no longer serving you in the way that it needs to. So allowing things to fall away a little bit, allowing things to kind of move and shift as it needs to. Some things might adapt with you, some things might completely fall away, but kind of allowing is the feeling that I'm getting coming back to that opening energy, and having patience to see where the chips land. Again, not having that quick reaction, not having that response or that pedal back, but continuing to move forward and just seeing what happens in a day, in a week, in a month, as you continue to show up for this new decision that I feel you're going to be making. So, clarification on what your inner child wants you to know. Oh dear, I love this. Oh my gosh. Wow. You've got a really powerful reading. All of these are major arcanas except for one. And it's the Ace of Coins. The aces are all about you. So this is all up to you. It's not, there's a lot of universal energy here as well. I feel like the universe might be kind of nudging and pushing you into new directions here, might be presenting certain opportunities that feel like you can't necessarily get away from them. It feels very confronting, but it's all up to you on how you want to manage this, how you want to move through this, how you show up for this. And your inner child with the sun wants you to know that everything's going to be okay, and that you are going to step into a more playful energy. They want you to step into a more playful energy, a more curious energy, a more free energy of opening up to the possibilities. And with this Fool on the bottom, it happens right after the World comes the Fool. So you are moving through this because a significant chapter in your life is coming to a close. And for you to open up to new possibilities here with the Fool and the Ace of Coins, you have to get into a space of preparation. And part of that preparation is being still. Expect the unexpected when you start making changes to those habits, those behaviors, time, energy, resources, however you like to allocate those. But there's a lot of beautiful energy here. There's a lot of confidence coming through with the sun, a lot of more playful energy here. We have the sun in this card as well. So you're shedding a lot in this process. And when you shed a lot, that makes you much lighter for the new road that is ahead. I feel like you're really closing out a chapter here, a significant chapter. You're opening up to new things. In order to welcome those new things, we have to tie a ribbon on some stuff that's no longer serving us, that is only keeping us held down or held back or feeling unwell, whatever it is. So your inner child, I think the biggest message from this is to take care of yourself, to align yourself to your greatest and highest good, as well as your wellness, your physical wellness, your mental wellness, and have some time to reflect on what that looks like for you, because it is going to be different for everyone. And that is why the stillness is coming through, is to have that reflection and to learn something in this moment about yourself for the road ahead. So let's get some final cards to end your reading. I want to get 2, and this might give a timeline as well to see when things might shift or change. So it could happen quite quickly, especially if you start leaning into this self-care or new wellness practices, or finding more stillness in your life, making changes to your schedule or routine. Okay. So you have late winter, the maker. Yeah, I love this because this is you kind of crafting and making what you want with earth, fire, water, all of the elements here. And this is very magician energy too. So late winter could be an indicator. I'm recording this in midwinter, so getting closer to spring. I feel maybe in the next month or 2, you might start seeing things or making shifts to schedules, etc. And then the elders, early autumn. So this comes back to the message of decay and metaphorical death, and this cycle of death and rebirth in your life, and you moving through literally this process at the moment, kind of eliminating the things that are not helpful, that are not beneficial, and realigning to what is going to be for your future. So how you approach and face these moments when fate or the universe pushes us into a new path, or where we consciously make choices towards a new path, this is where character, personal development, spiritual development, and stories are created, which is going back to that magician energy as well. But it can only begin when certain things come to a close. So this is what I have for you, dear Soul Path 1. I hope this was helpful and inspiring for you. With gratitude, I'm sending you my love. Stay curious, and I'll see you in your next reading. Hello, Soul Path 2. Welcome into your reading. You chose the orange calcite crystal with the revisit card. Now, there could be somebody revisiting home. So I get travel with this. Long distance travel specifically. But there's something about returning to home. Maybe this is a metaphorical home where you are returning to the inner child that was lost. And you are maybe revisiting some things from the past. This could be for personal development or some kind of growth that you're seeking in your life. Or this could be, there's a nostalgic energy coming through, so this could be simply just for the fond memories. But there could also be a small percentage of you that are looking at those darker moments, those moments of change, those moments of hurt and pain, to be able to transmute that into something beneficial, into healing. Something, I'm getting very strong family. I mean, we are talking about the inner child, but there is a very strong familial connection here, whether that is heritage, inheritance, family tree. So there's some kind of genetic connections here. Maybe somebody's looking at their family tree for information, or there's some ancestry DNA happening so that they can be more connected to their genetic roots and finding some kind of home within that. Okay. So let's take a peek now at maybe what this message is going to be all about, some themes that want to come through for Soul Path 2 regarding this inner child message. That felt very strongly. There's a rest and a haven. Rest and haven. So this is very root ground energy. Also garlic, when you grow garlic, you have to, what they call winter garlic, you have to let them rest over the winter period so that they can grow in the spring. So there's something about putting something to rest, or maybe needing some rest, which is why you may be revisiting this idea of home, because home is where you hang your hat, home is where you lay your head. And maybe home is haven, I'm not sure. Or maybe there's some in the collective that want to create a haven for rest. Maybe building a home for themselves, or finding home, or finding a sense of home where they can feel relaxed and rested. So this is like inviting people into this home as well that feel like family, but may not be genetic family. So I'm wondering if there's this kind of looking to the past for answers for your future or your current situation. And in order to do that, you need to find rest and to find the space to do that. Soul Path 1 got similar energy, but very different cards. So check out Soul Path 1 if this is resonating. But there's something about rooting down. And when we think about the root chakra, this is sort of our roots. So there's something about revisiting your roots. So I'm almost wondering if the rest almost doesn't feel quite right. But maybe maybe not. And also too, with this, I'm just seeing this earthworm here. Earthworms, they're great recyclers. They take all of the garbage of the earth, if you will, and they turn that into soil, really rich, nutritious, dense soil that is really good for plants and vegetables to grow. So there's this idea of you revisiting something possibly a little painful so that you can recycle that and turn that into really rich soil for you to grow new things. So again, I'm just getting planting of seeds, nutritious soil, and really kind of churning that up, of finding your roots again, of replenishing something, creating a haven for yourself. But in order to do that, I feel we have to look back first in order to move ahead. So that could be why this rest is here, is that this rest is going to give you this opportunity to reflect on the past and to be able to really understand how to transmute that energy moving forward. So let's take a look at Soul Path 2, Dear Spirit. What is their inner child wanting to share today? Let's look at the inner child energy currently for Soul Path 2. We have the Page of Wands in reverse. So this feels like creation energy that has been somewhat suppressed. And I'm not sure why. Maybe the clarifiers will tell us that. But there's this idea of wanting to express something, wanting to create something, of doing something with great purpose, passion, following some kind of dream, but not being able to. And so there's this need, your inner child has a need to bring their creations to life, to make their dreams come true, to create, emote, express, and to be playful as well. There could be some blockage to that, and that could be you saying, no, we can't do that, we have to be professional, or no, we can't do that because we've got so many things to do and so many things on our plate, or that seems silly. For some, there could be a brush off that's happening, or an avoidance to that for one reason or another. Or this could mean that this was suppressed in your childhood and now it's being asked to be brought forward, to be more integrated into your life. So it's about revisiting the things you loved as a child, revisiting the activities, revisiting the experiences or the environments that really brought you joy and really got you excited, playful, happy. So how to foster or maybe even address this for Soul Path 2. So we have the, I was going to say the 5, but 5 could be very relevant. We have the 9 of Swords, 8 of Swords, pardon me, in reverse. So this is about some kind of limiting belief that needs to be released. This could have been something placed on you, or this could have been something that you have put on yourself. Luckily, though, it is in reverse. So I feel like once you face this or look at this, it will be relatively easy for you to let this go once awareness is brought to this limiting belief, to these restrictions that maybe were placed on you by other people in your past, or maybe you were placing on yourself for one reason or another. But it's like this inner child is locked away. And there's something that happens within the mind when you think about creative expression, when you think about being inspired or doing something playful and creative in the world. There's like this idea of I can't because. So there's this energy of needing to revisit that. And maybe even putting that to rest. Maybe that's what's being put to rest here, is to rest these limiting beliefs that I feel they might be exhausting you to some degree or fatiguing you to some degree, because I feel like it's so natural for you to want to create or express. And when you shut that down for one reason or another, it really is tiresome because it goes against your natural being. So what does this inner child want you to know? 3 of Pentacles. This is about working together with the inner child and working as a team, working in collaboration and not against, not trying to suppress, ooh, I just got another hit, not trying to bury the inner child. Because even if you are an adult, I feel we need to be a little more playful in our life. We need to be a little more creative. We need to create, even if it's for our own self, to create a haven where we can be playful and creative and messy and have a little fun. So it's about working together, about playing to your strengths, but also not forgetting that this still exists within you. And maybe how to integrate that a little bit as well. Now, if you do something for work that isn't creative or playful and it's very serious, then maybe there needs to be this exploration in finding people or finding outlets where you can start building this up again. And maybe even creating for other people or finding networks or communities that can help you nurture and foster this and help you see growth with this gift or with this creativity. So again, that could be what this haven is about, is finding that safe space within your life or within your community, within your workplace. And then we have the 9 of Cups in reverse, or pardon me, 9 of Cups. 9 of Swords at the bottom of the deck. And it is in reverse. So again, it's this, there's some anxiety that has occurred maybe when you think about this expression. Maybe when you think about chasing your dreams. And that needs to be released, because it's almost like that shouldn't be where you shouldn't worry about that, because it's a natural thing within you. And I feel like you could possibly earn a living from this, but it's about fostering it, nurturing it, finding the right people to help put it out into the world, to help build it up. So there's something, I almost wonder, I'm getting a couple of things. So I'll share it. It may or may not resonate, but these are the examples that I'm being given. There's somebody that is, let's just say, lowest hanging fruit, a lawyer. Very logical, very practical, very intellectual in terms of a career path. It's not necessarily intuitive, creative. There's a problem-solving element, but it doesn't really fulfill you in that way. There's something more creative that wants to come through. Maybe it is creative writing, or maybe it is painting. Maybe it is teaching others something along a creative pathway. So you still feel relatively new to this pathway. And because you feel like you've traveled down this lawyer path for so long, that all hope is lost, and now you have to worry about making the switch because it feels like such a significant shift that there's some limiting beliefs or restrictions that you're placing on it because you might be too far down the law path to turn back. That I feel is untrue. Or maybe there's an age thing where you feel like you're too old and you miss this opportunity. That is also untrue. So it's kind of revisiting that and dipping your toe back in it again, because I think your inner child wants you to explore that. And you don't necessarily have to do that for a living, but they want you to revisit that just to see where it goes. And to release any worry or limitations or restrictions of this has to be a certain way. So there's like a structure or something really rigid being placed upon this idea of being playful, of being creative, of being expressive. And that could be an old pain from the past or your childhood, or that could simply just be a worry or a stress or a fear that is getting in your way. Okay, so let's get some clarifiers now. What is this inner child energy with the Page of Wands in reverse? Ooh, 10 of Swords. So it is in reverse. So I feel there's some inspiration in some of the pain and hurt that you have experienced in your life. And there's something about catharsis that's coming through here, where you creatively writing or creatively painting based on something from your past that could be quite painful, I feel A, could inspire others, and B, could really help transmute this, can recycle this energy just like the earthworm from this thing that kind of comes up and is a trigger and kind of haunts you from time to time, turning that into something beautiful, turning that into wisdom, turning that into inspiration, maybe turning that into fuel for a new path. But I almost wonder if this suppressive energy that I was feeling with the Page of Wands was due to a painful experience, so it just kind of naturally got suppressed. Now, whether that's somebody saying that you won't amount to anything, or you're not creative, or this is crap, or whatever it is, or it is something that you just simply experienced where there was so much chaos and hurt and pain going on around you and in your life that you didn't feel like following that dream or that path or that inspiration because there was so much going on in the mind that it almost creatively blocked you. So that's why I feel like it's coming up now, because this pain is in the past. I don't feel like it's an active thing because it is in the reverse. So it's like the actual experience that may have suppressed this energy is in the past. It's not currently active. It has been let go of, but the energy still exists within you, which is suppressing some kind of creativity that you have within you. So how to address or foster this energy? What is this 8 of Swords in reverse? Eight of Swords in reverse. Strongest energy, please. Okay, I'm only going to take the upright. And the High Priestess, I'll show you something in a sec. High Priestess in reverse. So, because of these limitations, this thought pattern or this thought cycle that's happening, it has really suppressed your intuition. Intuitive nudges that you're getting. I feel like you are passing by, or you're ignoring, or you don't trust your intuition. You don't trust your inner knowledge that you have gained over a period of time. Maybe you don't even trust your creativity, or you trust the inspirations that you're getting. You're almost shutting them down before they have a chance to become anything. So you get an idea and you kind of logically go through, how would I make this work? How would this happen? And you're trying to pattern out or path out how this thing could become something in reality. And it's almost getting shut down before it has a chance to escape. So that could be what this Eight of Swords is in terms of restriction. And with this being so restrictive, it is really tampering the knowledge, the inner wisdom, the intuition that wants to come through. And this could also be spiritually as well. So if you used to connect spiritually, psychically with the universe, with source energy, very easily as a child, I feel like now you no longer have that connection because of some lingering pain and some limiting beliefs that are getting in that way. So to foster this is to start getting back into that energy of trust, trusting yourself, trusting the things that come to you that feel natural, that feel intuitively guided, and not allowing these limiting beliefs to stop you, but just experiment and try. Just tapping back into that energy again to say, okay, I have this idea for something. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to kind of start taking the pathway of bringing it to life, and any judgment or any criticism that wants to come through, I'm just going to put a pin in that for a while. Maybe write it down and put it aside to get it out of your mind so that you can really focus on tapping back into that inner child, that inner wisdom, that connectivity that you had possibly with your spirit guides or source, if that's something that you believe in. And then what does your inner child want you to know with this Three of Pentacles? I was going to show you something. And, well, it's kind of, you might not believe me now, but Nine of Cups was on the bottom of the deck with that. So I think your inner child really wants you to find that fulfillment. And I did say Nine of Cups when this one came out, and it was interesting that it came out at the bottom of the deck for this one. So, yeah, it's about finding your fulfillment and maybe not being quite aligned with that fulfillment right now. What does this inner child want you to know with the Three of Pentacles? And we've got the Eight of Cups in the upright, with the Three of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Again, that heartbreak energy is coming through for these clarifiers here. So it is still in your heart space. It still affects you, even though it might be in your past, or it is not currently in your active energy. So there's some remnants that are still here. And I feel like because of that, your heart space is really quite closed up, or there's an energy of keeping it under lock and key. So it is healing this pain so that you can open up at least to yourself and your inner child to understand that it is safe to express. It is safe to heal. It is safe. And I coming back to this beginning message, this is what the Haven is giving me now. I wasn't quite sure what that was about, but I almost wonder if you need to give your inner child a safe haven to be able to feel comforted with this heartbreak, with this pain, to see that inner child, to know that it is okay. And there's almost a storyline of giving your inner child what you didn't get in this experience. Now, with the Eight of Cups, clarifying what your inner child wants you to know, with the Three of Pentacles, there's an odd thing happening in this card. Well, first of all, this card is about not emotionally investing in things that are no longer working for you, and being okay walking away if it's not feeling fulfilling. Not feeling like you have to run the course and allow things to fall away naturally. But if something's not working, kind of putting the cups down and moving towards the things that are going to be fulfilling, even if you don't know what that looks like. Now, there's an odd thing happening in this card, and for some reason it's standing out to me more so than in my previous readings. The seal seemingly has hands, but it also has flippers, so I don't know what's happening here, but there's this feeling of reaching out to maybe get a helping hand with this, and that was part of that message with the Three of Pentacles. Reaching out to have new experiences, of getting out of the emotional comfort zone, even though it's not necessarily fulfilling, and starting to walk the path, walking towards what might feel more fulfilling, what might feel more freeing. And with the Eight of Cups too, there's this sense of abandonment. It's almost like the inner child is, like, literally, I don't know if this person is actually behind the seal or inside the seal. Like, I don't know what's happening. This is very bizarre. But it's like the inner child is reaching out to be collaborated with, to be heard, to be comforted, to be listened to in terms of the creativity and the inspiration. So it's like, don't abandon that part of you for something that is no longer serving you. So, big message there. And there are many swords here, so I feel like there is a lot of thinking going on, a lot of mental exhaustion happening. Again, that could be past energy, but I feel like it could still take up space in your mind, especially when triggers occur, or when stuff happens in life. It kind of triggers you and gets you to maybe subconsciously revisit something from your past that was painful. This rest card, I'm also getting past life regression as well. Maybe Reiki, massage, something about getting into a state of rest and stillness to be able to heal something. So we have the door. Early spring could be a time where you start to take steps in a certain direction. And I also love that the key came up, because this heart is currently kind of locked up. So it's like early spring is when you decide to start unlocking something, or something is revealed to you, or you start taking steps in a new direction and you unlock a new pathway or a new door to something new. And we do have many butterflies in your reading here. So we have butterflies in this card, butterflies in some of the sword cards here. So this is transformational energy. It's almost like you are being brought back to life, but in a new way. And I say that metaphorically. It's like when you revisit or reconnect with your inner child, you start integrating a part of you that got lost for so long. So you're reconnecting with that, you're revisiting that, and it's opening up a new door for how you perceive life, how you creatively express in your life. and maybe even offering new opportunities as well. And the river, early autumn. So that could also be a season of when you start really integrating and seeing things occur. But mostly what I'm getting with that is that by early autumn, you're going to be in more of a flow with things, because early spring might be when something becomes unlocked, you start walking a new pathway, and early autumn is when you start flowing with life again. You start flowing with the creativity. You might even start flowing with your intuition again, or being really connected to your sensitivity and just going with that flow of not resisting, of not holding back, of not seeing the restrictions, of maybe not even connecting with the pain in the same way. You're kind of allowing things to move through you rather than get stuck within you, if that makes sense. It's like when something bubbles up, you kind of hold it in your energetic space, and that can affect so many things when you try to hold that feeling at bay. But once you start letting go and letting this inner child come through, of really listening to it and feeling it and moving with the energy, then that's when things start to not feel so heavy. And in this space, you could need some assistance as well, because the Three of Pentacles have shown up here, which can be about business and collaboration and network and connectivity with others to see growth. So that could also mean in your personal life as well. So are there, again, communities, support groups, or therapists, counselors, teachers, guides that can offer you assistance letting go of this pain? Because we don't want to do this heavy lifting on our own, especially if it is connected to some kind of trauma that we've experienced. It's not as easy to move through it as I'm making it sound. So do really connect in with yourself to ensure that you're getting the support that you need and getting that helping hand that you need to move through these emotions and let certain things from your past go for good, or at least transmute them into something beautiful. So this is what I have for you, my dear Soul Path 2. I hope that resonated and was helpful to you. With gratitude, I'm sending you love. Stay curious, and I'll see you in your next reading. Hello, Soul Path 3. Welcome into your reading. You chose the pink crackle quartz with the Awaken card. So there's definitely some transformation happening here and some awakening. There's this changing forms that's occurring where I feel like you have maybe integrated something in your life from your past. That was something that came from Soul Path 2 as well, where you're reintegrating something from your childhood that brought you joy, or a part of you, part of your personality that was suppressed, and now you're kind of revisiting that, coming back into that energy again. I feel like this has been in part due to some kind of an awakening where you have woken up to something, to some kind of experience that you've had in your past, and really understanding it on a deeper level. I feel like this has been a long road to recovery is what I'm hearing, and now you're at this point where you are seeing the light, you are seeing the brightness and the joy in life again. And that could just simply be what I'm picking up on in terms of that childlike energy. It may not necessarily be from your past, but generally speaking, I do feel more of a playfulness, more of an openness to how you feel, and being really connected with that inner child and how that inner child feels. And because of that, there's this openness happening, an open-heartedness, more self-love, or a stronger connection to love outside of you. There's also this feeling of not fearing. So I feel like the fear has dissipated to some degree. And I'm not sure if that's a childhood fear or if that's just a fear of being seen, a fear of expression, a fear of creation, a fear of change. So let's get an energy for what the reading might be about today. For Soul Path 3, about their inner child. Inner child, what would you like to share? What themes or topics would you like to share with? Okay, love it. Oh my goodness. See, I told ya. There was a lot of love and lack of fear coming through. So we have love and happiness. I feel like your inner child wants to talk about your journey to possibly self-love, to possibly some kind of forgiveness is what I'm getting. There's some levity coming through with this inner child. Something has been healed due to some kind of an awakening. Somebody has hit rock bottom, but they're on the upswing, or they're already kind of moving through that. So there's this distance between the sludge that they had to go through. Again, it's been a long road to recovery. So somebody could literally be recovering from an addiction that was rooted in childhood pain or trauma. And this awakening allowed them to really see that, feel that, heal that, and step into this loving, happy energy again. So it's almost like this inner child has been reawakened, and there's this creation of life happening again. There's this call to adventure. So I'm getting the Fool energy, I'm getting the Sun energy, just lots of joyful expression here. And there's equal amounts of darkness and light. So there's this beautiful balance of divine feminine and masculine energies coming through. There's a lot of intuitive inner wisdom that I feel you have tapped into as well. So it's not just about tapping into that inner child and what it needs and what it's trying to express to you, but also really connecting with that openness that the inner child has about energy. Children, they are so imaginative, so playful and open-hearted that they can be connected to things that adults tend to shut down or brush off. So I almost feel like you're getting back in touch with that. That could be an actual psychic sense, or that could simply be some kind of creativity that comes through intuitive nudges or suggestions. But again, just a beautiful balance coming through here. And I almost wonder too if this is allowing you to step into more happy relationships as well, whether that be with yourself or others. So you're moving from a space of love rather than a space of reactivity, rather than a space of hurt or pain. You've really done some healing work here, is the feeling that I'm getting. And you're now awakened to some kind of new life, a new perspective, new feelings. And you're completely open to that, whatever that is. Wow. Beautiful energy. I feel like your inner child is probably going to come through with messages of pride. And I just feel such a levity and freedom. This inner child has such a freedom about them. And there's so much happiness, and I hear giggling and skipping and playing and jumping and running around. And there's this carefree attitude that comes through with this inner child. So whatever work you've done, I feel like you've done a lot of heavy lifting over maybe many years. So there's been lots of healing, lots of hard stuff, but now you're getting into the good stuff. You're getting into the stuff that you had always dreamed about when you were a kid. And you almost can't believe that it's here or it's up and coming. You feel it. Maybe you haven't seen it yet. So let's take a look at this inner child energy. Strength in reverse. Okay. So that tells me that there's the inner child is a little, I don't want to say unsure, but it lacks a little bit of confidence because I feel like this is such a new experience. I feel like you might be so used to things going wrong, things going sideways, things being a mess, things being chaotic, changes happening all the time. I just get that you've been on such a journey that this experience now, or this feeling, these new feelings that you have, are so new that you're almost not confident that they're going to stay. And so there's a lack of courageousness or leadership or bravery that's coming through. Like, I'm not sure if I can do this and sustain it, or I'm not sure if I can really manage these instincts that have been around for so long. Maybe this reactivity, or maybe this anger, or this need to go back to some kind of habit that was not good for me. There's a little bit of uncertainty that comes through with that. So your inner child might be looking for some assurance right now, and that might be something to consider is how can you prevent or build the confidence to know that this is now your new path, that even though and even if certain things from your past threaten your progress, threaten possibly your future, that you have the strength, the courage, you've done the work to be able to bring awareness and be awake to when those things come in, to know what to do when they come through. So are there any strategies that you can implement to assure this inner child that I've got this, we've got this? And I can't speak to the addiction aspect of it. That will have to be up to your counselor, your mentor, your sponsor, any groups that you might attend, and getting feedback from them. Because I am not equipped to speak to that. I can just give kind of general thoughts and ideas on that. How to maybe address this or foster more confidence, more strength. Okay. So 8 of Swords in reverse. I believe Soul Path 2 got this in the same position. So there's something about limiting beliefs that need to be removed from your life, need to be addressed, because there could be a belief that's coming through when you think about embracing this energy of love, embracing this energy of happiness, and having this concern or this worry that the cycle is going to rear its ugly head again. And you have 8s here. Both of these are 8s. So 8s could be a significant number, and it could speak to cycles that you have experienced. Maybe you've been here before, so maybe that's why there's a lack of confidence in really embracing this love and happiness. It's like, is this real? Is this a dream? And it's like you're living the dream. You're awake in the dream. Like, it's here. This is it. So it's kind of shattering those limiting beliefs of, I can't do this, or I'm unable to do this, or I have to do this perfectly, or I'm not deserving. And how can you address the limiting beliefs, the thought patterns, the thought cycles, the triggers that might threaten to pull you back? So that might be a good place to start, is looking at how you think about the situation, how you think about yourself, what you feel you are capable of achieving, what you are worthy of achieving, and how those play into your experience, how they affect your choices or even your thoughts. Looking at those belief systems and the stories that we have come from or experienced in life. What does the inner child want you to know? We've got the King of Cups here. You've got this. Whatever it is, you have done the work to the point where you're able to manage your emotions so well that people are going to seek you out as a mentor, as a coach, as somebody that can hold space for them to move through emotions as well. This is also caring for others just as much as you care for yourself, and not being shaken by the emotions that bubble up when we get into situations that might trigger us. So I feel your inner child is saying that you've got this. So I need you to kind of reflect that back to me, because I'm coaching you. I need you to coach me back. It's kind of the energy that I'm feeling there. It's like this inner child is unsure, but it knows that you are emotionally regulated, you're emotionally balanced, you're emotionally secure. So they need you to take that and reassure them that it's okay. So there's a confidence that's coming through with that, and looking at how far you've come, knowing that no matter what changes you experience in life, no matter what you might experience or who you might experience, there's a feeling of, I know what to do. I know how I truly feel outside of the triggers that I'm experiencing in this moment, outside of maybe the old patterns that are coming through right now. I know that these are just fears, or they're stresses, or they're patterns that have been very ingrained in my life, and bringing that awareness to them, I can then acknowledge them and let them go, but not necessarily make decisions from that space, not react from that space. So I think this might come in time, this confidence. Your inner child might start to feel more confident as you start kind of managing the emotional aspect of things and managing your sensitivities, and even seeing you lead others. And we have the Nine of Swords at the bottom of the deck in reverse on this one. And this also came out, same position for Soul Path 2. So it's about release of worries here. This is about not only the release of limiting beliefs that others or you have placed on yourself, but it's about removing the worry of things that have not yet occurred, the worry that things will revert back to the old way. So it's not about being in the past and not about being in the future. It's about being in this present moment, carrying yourself in this present moment based on the healing that you've experienced and rooted in love and happiness. I know that's really tough to do consistently because we're human. We're going to have bad days. We're going to have, days where we do react in old ways, but always come back to the work. And just because you have a setback doesn't mean that you have failed. It is simply just an opportunity to get ourselves back on track again. So strength in reverse for the inner child energy. Inner child energy, strength in reverse. Why are they feeling this way? Yes, okay, Page of Coins. Yeah, this is a new thing for you. First of all, your values have changed. Second of all, this is a new adventure that you're on. This is a new opportunity to spend your time, energy, money very differently than in the past. And so, yeah, you're going to be new to this. You're going to feel a little bit like an imposter, or a little bit like this isn't real. But it's about going through the motions and not worrying about making mistakes or being perfect or even being closed off to the experience, because it's going to guide you and teach you, just like your previous experience has. But I feel like this is a building up rather than a tearing down. And I feel like the tearing down aspect of your experience has been finished. It's over. You're on a new pathway now of building back up. So I think your inner child needs you to be open to this experience, to being open to the new things, to being open to committing over a long period of time, and not worrying about setbacks, not worrying about the things that might happen along the way, but to just remain open and diligent with staying committed to your new truth, to this new pathway you're walking, to the destination. And 8 of Swords in reverse for how to address or foster the energy of the inner child. How to address or foster. The 4 of Cups. Yeah, so taking in the things that have disappointed you, really looking at the emotional connections you have, whether to people or situations, that you're emotionally investing in, but aren't really feeling all that fulfilling. There's an apathy coming through. And apathy is not a bad thing unless we sit in that apathy knowing that things need to change, knowing that this isn't where I need to be. So there's a recognition coming through of not only those limiting beliefs, but are those limiting beliefs keeping you in a space that is not seeing change, is seeing stagnation, or is feeling emotionally unfulfilling. So it's about looking for the opportunities in those moments where you're not having the best days, where you may have some setbacks or some thought patterns come through again. But it's about finding those opportunities in those moments to say, you know what, I've identified this belief is unhelpful. I've identified it as unfulfilling. So I'm going to say no to that particular cycle. And that can be a really tough thing to break, but just bringing awareness and pushing that back to say, I hear you, I understand your fear, to acknowledge it and to move through it, but don't attach yourself to it. Look for the opportunities or what that emotion or trigger is trying to show you in that moment. There might also be some areas in life where you're saying yes to something, but you're really wanting to say no, or you're not fully emotionally committed to that particular thing. So it's about looking at those things as well, because those might have something to do with what we feel we're capable of, what we feel we can accomplish within that space or within that relationship. Then you have to ask, am I okay here? Am I okay with that reality? Or would I like something more or different? And then once we bring that awareness to that, we can decide to make changes and put our emotional energy where we would like it to go. So King of Cups, what does this inner child want you to know? You're doing great, is what I'm hearing. King of Wands, 2 kings. Oh my goodness. And then you have the 6 of Wands in the reverse at the bottom of the deck here. So you got 2 kings. And this strength card is a Leo card, who is a king as well. So your inner child wants you to step into this king energy. And I feel you're not giving yourself enough credit for the amount of work you've done and the awareness that you have brought to your path, your journey, your experience, your life, your situation, your past, your present, and your future. Like, holy cow, you have done the heavy lifting, and they want you to step into this king energy. Powerful, emotionally grounded, sensitive, but understanding what's mine and what's yours. Being inspirational to others, of really bringing your vision to life. You can do this. Do not worry about that. And don't forget to give yourself credit for this. Because even though you may not see this energy in yourself, and the king energy, there's no gender here. The king is simply an archetype of action, mastery in action. But I feel like you're not giving yourself credit for this. Or maybe you're looking to external people to give you permission to step into this. You need to give yourself credit and permission and celebration to step into this energy, because you're here. This is you. This is where you are now. You have mastered your emotions. You have mastered bringing your visions to life. Now, you may not see this yet in full, but in order to see this come to full fruition, to step into this mastery, we have to embody that energy first. And it's kind of backwards. We want to have that confirmation before we get that confidence, right? And maybe that's why the Strength and the Six of Wands are in the reverse, because it's like we're waiting for that validation that we're good enough, that we're healed enough, that we're enough, that we can do this, that we are this great leader. We need to do that for ourselves. And I think that's part of what your inner child wants you to know. Embrace the king that you are. Embrace being able to take actions on all kinds of emotions and knowing how to move through those, whether they're good or bad, knowing how to wrangle them. And you might not be a master of that every day. I don't think any of us are. We are human after all. So even if we have some level of emotional healing or psychological healing or mental healing or physical healing, that we are going to have days where we don't feel so powerful. We don't feel so masterful, and that's totally okay. But always coming back to this energy of the kings, of mastery, of building a kingdom for yourself, of leading yourself towards your own vision, and giving yourself credit for all of the work that you've done. Your inner child thanks you. Your inner child loves you. And I think you're on your way to a lot of happiness. So 2 cards to end your reading. This might give us a time frame of when you might start to see some changes happen. Oh, I love that energy for you. The Phoenix in late autumn. I feel like that was trying to come out as well. Ah, I love this energy. Oh my gosh. And the Dreaming at the bottom of the deck, which is like stepping into your dreams. We talked about that. So we have the Phoenix rising, and we talked about also moving above and beyond the sludge and becoming something different, of really transforming into something new. But I don't think it's, I think it's you re-entering your natural state of, in a space of healing, in a space of love and happiness, rather than pain and trauma and hurt. Whatever sludge you move through, you are rising above it by doing whatever you're doing. Keep doing it. Keep going. Late autumn is when you might start to really feel like this is really happening. I'm feeling in the king energy. My visions are starting to come to life. And the unfurling with spring equinox. So between spring and late autumn, I'm filming this in midwinter, I feel like this is the unfurling. Both of these are the unfurling, really. And it's like this slow unfurling when you start to see the light, when you start to see this warmth of happiness and love and, you know, all of the work that you're doing, you're starting to unfurl and grow into something brand new. There's a growth that's happening. There's an awakening. Usually when winter comes to an end and spring comes in, there is this awakening that happens. Awakening of the plants and the animals and the birds and the bees. And new life is formed from that space, from that seed that you planted months ago. So I think in this moment, you might be in the midst of planting new seeds. And in this present moment is the perfect time to plant new seeds for your future, to start to do things a little bit differently, to explore healing, to really care for that inner child that wants you to be happy and feel the fullness of love and life. And this is the time of year to set intentions for your growth, to pause in the hustle and bustle of daily life and tune into what your heart wants, what your heart needs, what your inner child's dreams are. How do you want to show up for yourself, others, that inner child? So this is what I have for you, my dear Soul Path 3. I hope that resonated and was helpful to you. With gratitude, I'm sending you love. Stay curious, and I'll see you in your next reading.